What up, what up, what up? Bankroll 10. Tired as hell. Bedded up Kustoms. Landau. Tubs in the Landau. Kicking my ass. Cut my finger. Just a little paper cut, but it was bleeding. That was yesterday. So now touch it to everything. But that's what those spots are. Fitting the tubs up in here. I rough cut the tubs out. If anybody's seen the shorts and the IG reel and the Facebook reel and blah, blah, blah. Rough cut it out. This is the half moon right here that comes in the tub kit. These are 38-inch tubs, and obviously that means from that point to that point is 38. So these cars, basically from this corner piece right here where the point is basically 38. It's a little bit wider out here than in there. But here we go. So right here, you can see, let me get up in here. Okay, so the top of this half moon and the bottom of that, so that's like right with the bottom of this. So when you close the trunk, and yes, I did hit that with the cutoff wheel, so I'm gonna have to weld that up. But when you pull the trunk down, that is gonna be right at the top of this tub. You got more than enough room in here for that wheel to tuck. I mean, if you were to measure how far that goes up in there, I mean, we're talking probably up here easy. You know, that's pretty far up in there. So we're wanting to tuck to where the rim is up in here, you know, so we'll be able to do that, no problem. This car is a 28 by 11, so it's 12 overall. So the wheel is gonna sit in a little bit more, so we have plenty of clearance to the outside. So you don't have to full tub it. The tan car, minimum wage, his car, the tan one with the gold choppers on it, the 28, 12, 13 inches overall. That one, again, did not need to be full tubbed. This one right here will still clear a 13 overall wheel, which would be a 28 by 12. This part of the frame right here is out a little bit more than the top part, and that's because the frame gets so thin right here. What I did to the gold car, the tan car, the gold choppers, is when this piece was cut out, I actually tapped the back part over with the hammer. Tapped, you know, I hit it, got it over and made it straight up and down, made it plumb. This one I didn't do that because the wheel being by 11, so 12 overall. So not saying that it would be a problem to put a 13 overall wheel on there. It depends on the offset of the rim, the backspace of how the rim would sit. Rear end wise, I was saying the other day on the other video, I had said this rear end was 58 inches, axle flange to axle flange, blah, blah. So that would be with the axles in it, that would be with the ends on it. And then I had said about, I cut off 2 inches off this side, I cut off 2 inches on the other side, and then I said 56. Well, obviously 2 off that side, 2 off this side from 58 would be 54. So now another 1.5 inches is coming off, so that would be another 3. So we're looking at 51 inches. I should have remembered that because that's what I made the tan car with the gold choppers, the rear end, axle flange to axle flange was 51 inches. And another reason I know it's 51 inches because the rear end that is on the bench over here for the Malibu right here, this one is 51 inches. So, and minimum wages car, the tan Chevy with the choppers, how many more times I'm gonna say that? The wheels sit in pretty far on the side of the car. So you could play with the offset a little bit And I think he's got like a 1/2 inch of room behind the back of the rim to the frame towards the front of the car. So, anyways, that's that. So yeah, we're working on getting the tubs all together for that. I had to go out to Paw Paw, which is a town about an hour west of me, to drop off the axles for it, because the original axles that were for that 9-inch, the 35 spline, I was gonna have to cut the 2 inches off of there, this and that. But when we measured it all up and had the wheel on there, we knew that we had to go more. So one axle is getting 1 inch cut off of it and a little bit more splines to it. The other axle, the long axle is going to become the short axle, and the short axle is going to become the long axle, because 9-inch, 2 different size axles, boom. So 3.5 inches is coming off of 6 inches is coming off of one axle, and 1 inch is coming off the other axle, and that brings the 58 down to 51. So that's getting done and resplined. Those, he said he should have them ready Friday. I got to call him back tomorrow with another number on the center bore of the axle, how big it is. But anyways, it's going to take another day or so anyways to get these tubs totally in this thing. And I got the body mount problems in the back that I got to deal with. If you saw right there, I don't want to step on these tubs. But as you've seen back here, the bumper is down that little bit, because this mount was still kind of holding pretty good, but the thing inside was spinning. But to do 28s, the mount comes into play. So I'm gonna do some drilling and put some stuff in here, or put a brace setup in here. But the back one is the one that's giving me the problem, because the top of the frame is rusty. So when this one came out, the frame fell down through there. So I actually have that one in there, but the bolt went in on an angle when I tightened it back up, and the piece that's inside the body for it to lock into, it moves around. Well, it's in there spinning. So I got to cut it open on the inside. I should be able to just fix the back one. So I'll cut it open enough, pull the frame down. I'll be able to pull it down. I got that bar in there, but I'll be able to see how it flexes. But anyways, pull that down, fix the mount setup, put like a brace setup in here, and maybe put a mount to it. So maybe I'll make a thing off of here and just make a mount off the side of the frame right here. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll figure out something just so it has extra support. But yeah, obviously all that stuff's in there. Boom, you guys seen all that, I think, already. You know, I don't know how to weld, I don't know how to fabricate, I don't know how to line nothing up, I don't know how to do this and that, but you know, the car might make it down the street. This car has some leather seats in it that were done. This is a piece of leather that I have around the shop to cover up shit, so that way we don't burn it, scratch it, fuck it up with my fat ass getting in and out. All the original stuff that's in here. Whenever I'm cutting and grinding, oh, as you guys can see, the paper, that stick-on stuff is on the windows to protect the windows, because when you're cutting with the cutoff wheel and sparks are flying, when those sparks are hitting the glass, they're putting little burns in the glass. So if you take your fingernails and you run them across the glass, you can feel that it burns the glass. So obviously, once it stops, it'll mess up the heat that's in the back window. How the lines are in the back window, that's the heat for defrost. It'll mess that up. And then if you try to tint the windows, you can't tint the windows, because the little pieces of grinding and weld slag will do it too. So when you're welding, you got to make sure the windows are taped off. This stuff is the first time I've used it. The owner actually brought it. He said he had some at the house. Boom. It's easy to use. It sticks on there pretty damn good. Obviously, you're only going to use it one time. You're not going to reuse it. So yeah, stick it all on there so that way you're not burning it up. Hoping that I wasn't blowing too many sparks on the headliner. You know, the headliner material. I don't know if that one's new or redone or old or original. I don't know. But I really never messed up a headliner. Think about that. Have you ever heard other people say, oh, I don't think I have? But sometimes shit gets messed up. Sometimes some burns get put here and there, you know. I asked for cars to be stripped out, interiors, passenger seat, stuff like that, so that way I can protect what I can protect. And then I don't like taking the stuff out and having it in the shop because obviously look at the shop. The shop, shit flies everywhere, this and that. I don't have a real safe place for it. Stereo, speakers, shit like that. Even 6x9s. Now think about it. If that 6x9 was in that hole and doing all the cutting, the magnet would be right there. So all the metal shavings would stick to the magnet, and now your speaker's shit. Now, if I take your speakers out and I set them somewhere, this and that, there's still metal all over the shop. So that's why I say, can you take out the back seat? Can you do this? Can you do that? I don't want nothing in the trunk, blah, blah. You can see I put a tape line, me and the kid, put a tape line in there so that way the line would be somewhat straight. I actually saw somebody else do that. I'm trying to think who else did that. But you do want to make a straight ass cut, because if you got a jagged ass cut or a wavy ass cut, when you go to put that half moon in there and tag it to there, then it starts waving or whatever, or you got to hold it at a certain line up, and then you got to go back through and fill it, and then if you over weld it, you warp it, and then it gets wrinkles in anyway. So all in the prep. Don't ever try to just rush through it. You know what it's going to be like when you're done. Take your time to make it look good, so when it's done, it looks as good. This side you can see is just rough cut still. This side you can see the hole in the floor is where somebody fixed that body mount, which we're no longer using, and they had that thing was spinning. This back left body mount back here has never been touched. But just from cutting the tubs today, look at how much shit is on the bumper. So, you know, these cars, like I said, basically this point to this point down here. So inside the trunk, you know, right in here, boom, boom, is where the 38 inches comes into play. So if you go straight across there into where do you want to go, so you figure out what your line to be is in here, which is a motherfucker. And then be careful, because all this shit is so sharp when you cut it. Wear gloves. I like to use the TIG welding gloves. So TIG welding gloves are a lot thinner and easier to maneuver and move shit around and stuff like that. You can still cut through the glove if you grab it too hard and fuck yourself up. Mine, I did have the gloves on and cut the tip. Not bad, but I got holes in my gloves because they get burned, they get worn out. But yeah, the end being clocked like that, I only had it together with 2 tacks just to preset everything together. I had the bar in there. The pucks are in the center section in there. I was surprised that the 35 spline axle actually went in and went into the puck. So that was cool that it held everything exactly straight like I wanted. So with this on there and the caliper on there, it was in a good position, but that's when we found out we need to go another 1.5 inches. So I'll be able to take this off, I'll cut the 2 tacks off with the cutoff wheel, take another 1.5 inches off here, put this back on. I'm gonna mark with a straight line with a yellow marker, boom. So that way I can see where I had the clock. And clock, you know, meaning clock in the end, how you turn it. There's still people out there, oh, I don't like that. Oh, it's so dumb. Oh, this and that, blah, blah. It's the best thing to do. So that way you're not taking your frame right here and putting a big ass cut in it like a C-notch to clear the big ass caliper. So the boxes down here are that measurement, center to center. So that way you have all this clearance for the caliper. So we got plenty of room to go another 1.5 inches and still have plenty of room for the caliper to clear all this. The only thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clock it just a little bit more, because that caliper is so big that if we go in this and it ends up being here and we put it on the ground, and how low we wanna be if it comes close to that. So I'd rather have this almost straight down. It'll be up just a little bit, so that way you can get the air out of it, so you can bleed it, which vacuum bleeders and all that shit work wonders. But yeah, so it takes time to set all this up. I know so many people are like, well, why didn't you just order the rear end already fabbed up and this and that? Well, because they don't fab it like this. And if they do fab it like this, they're so technical on your numbers and precise on what you have to have it and this and that. And then you bought a rear end that was already built. You know, I'm a custom shop, a true custom shop. I custom fab the whole rear end except for the main centerpiece. So there you go. That, you know, I like doing this shit. Some days I don't, but I still like doing it because I'm still doing it. If I didn't like doing it, I wouldn't be doing it. So yeah, there it is. Fabbed up, braced up, notched up, about to be tubbed up. Landau, Chevy, box Chevy, my box Chevy. It's some yellow wolf, my box Chevy. The front is, I mean, we still don't have the wheels, which whatever. I don't know exactly what's going on with that, but I won't be able to set the alignment and all that stuff until I have those wheels because of the height. Can't set it to that height until I have those wheels. So the car might get slapped together, meaning that it'll be able to go on a tow truck to go to the paint shop to get the final estimate or some shit, paint or I don't know, something that the owner's working on. And it can go get an estimate or get whatever, and then it can come back. Something like that. Bag on 10, bedded out. Yes, I did get the ladder bar cross member in this. And then I got the two braces to the torque boxes. And these two pieces of tube are 3 inches long. And they're what came off the end of the ladder bar cross member. And I got those welded up on there. I centered it up with the socket inside there, how I wanted it to be. I did a measurement off of this tube to there. And then I set up the other side. It's about the same. They're a little bit off. And that means one of these boxes is bent a little bit. But you want to put the arm in there and tighten it up so it squishes both sides. You wouldn't want to leave this loose in there because this could have been bent out a little bit from when you took the stock arm off, and that one could have been in a little bit, and it just throws shit off. Basically everything, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it's coming off. It's like maybe an 1/8 inch difference, like this bar, or maybe it's that one. It's like an 1/8 inch longer. That ain't gonna hurt nothing. The ladder bar cross member is in there square. You can do a few measurements. There's, you know, plates of metal. So you can see the stock area of the metal right through there. You measure there, tack it in, whatever, and then, you know, pull some measurements off at different spots, like, you know, inside this body mount hole to the center of the tube. Check that side. A couple different measurements here and there, and you'll basically have the shit set. Now, if this thing was a 1/4 inch off side to side, I always angle them back just that little bit so that way the drive shaft has a little bit more room. Well, I guess, which way did I angle the other car? I think I went forward, but back's fine. This thing's gonna be low as hell to the ground. Once again, I did not do this frame notch. I don't know who did the frame notch. And I'm just gonna be doing right here and finessing the tubs. But trying to get this thing ready to get the rear end that's right over there, underneath here. So this thing can get buttoned up and get out of here too. So, Landau. I know some of you guys are like, man, walk out there to that white car. Walk out there to that white car. And then see them things right there you probably seen in the background. Damn. Y'all, that's them Gucci lips. That's them Gucci lips right there. All right, anyways. I had to say it. So yes, this white one I already pre-cut. Probably gonna get some wind noise. Pre-cut the tubs out of it. Now you can see that those wheels in there. For this one, that is a 28. Let's see if I can cut the speaker so I can catch the wind. That's probably not gonna work. But anyways, that one is a 28 by 9, so it's 10 overall. And then there's tons of room behind that, but you would still have to, you could probably get away with C-clip eliminators and doing a 1/2 inch tuck more in. The blue one that I did that had, I think, the same wheel, that one, I think I did C-clip eliminators on it and did a 1/2 inch and more and got the car to tuck down more. But yes, this car was already cut, so I want everybody to see that. See it? It's cut. Once again, it is cut. I do not cut the backs of these cars to put a 28 on them, but it's cut. So I'll clean that cut up the best I can and fix this chrome when I get it done. So I guess it does help a little bit that I can keep the rear end a little bit more forward, but it don't matter. It ends up where it ends up. This guy wants that other wheel to sit with this chrome lip inside there. So boom, 3 inches. So that's what we're gonna get this one. Once again, the paper, the stick-on shit, all on the glass, all on the glass. Uh-oh, got that matching steering wheel. The other thing you guys probably didn't notice is this is a wrap. See it right there? But dude is changing it back to this per white. So he had all this painted. But yeah, now you can see from that angle, you can tell it's a wrap. But when it was first dropped off, I had no idea it was a wrap until he told me. I mean, I didn't look at it that close, but then once he said it. Another one, 28s, mini tubbing, 9-inch rear ends going in it, super drop boxes, all that. QA1 uppers and lowers, Viking coilovers, trick chassis, anti-roll, trick chassis, rear control arms, QA1 sway bar in the front. The parts were actually supposed to be here. What is today? Today's Tuesday. He said Monday or Tuesday. The car, I think, got here Friday or Saturday. Friday, I think. But I haven't heard from nobody, and obviously they didn't show up, so the parts ain't here. So anyways, I gotta finish this one first. This one's gonna get finished up. That one's gonna come in, go on this lift, and we'll have all the suspension tore out of it in no time. I'm picking up some 2x3 2x3 steel to start doing the frame rails for that. The other day, that thing, I was moving the back frame a little bit, looking at some shit, and pop, it broke a weld, and I thought the back frame was gonna fall out of it. So I have to hurry up and build the rails for the back of this, and I'm gonna do a 2x3 ladder bar cross member that's gonna go across, like how these are tube cross members right there. It's a tube ladder bar cross member. So this one, I'll do a square 2x3 ladder bar cross member. So then I'll cut this shit off right in front of the mount. Where the fuck the mounts at? Mounts here. So I'll cut it off, put the ladder bar cross member in there. It'll have the bend in it. This car is gonna sit, it's gonna sit good. So I'll figure out if I'm gonna put that thing in upside down. If I put it a little bit higher up, or I put it down. If I put it more down here, then I'll keep the bend at the bottom. But if I put it more up, then I'll keep the bend in it up. But that's just, I don't know. Might be what I'm doing, might not be. But I gotta get this car done. So I've been able to put a little time into this and that and this and that. So a little bit here, a little bit there, everything keeps rolling. But all right, y'all, Bankroll 10 bedded up. And Lil Bank, how you get that name?
Because you are a big bank.
Okay.
I am Little Bank.
Okay, so you just didn't make that name up. Like, you didn't just start calling yourself Little Bank. People were calling you Little Bank, right?
Everyone was calling me Little Bank, Little Better Up. There's reasoning behind my little bank, my little better up. There's reasoning behind it.
Okay. So
you can't just go around calling yourself little something with no meaning behind it.
Yeah, nobody's ever called called them that before, and then they get called. I guess nowadays you can just put Little in front of your name, and then you want people to call you that. I don't know.
There's just.
But anyway.
There's meaning behind stupidity, and there's meaning behind
real shit.
Real shit too.
Real shit.
But there's
all right, y'all.
very much of that around today.
I'm gonna try to get this video up to date. See how long it takes to process. But anyways, them boys look huge, don't they? Especially next to the car. Yeah, it almost looks like it's a 30 with a fat ass lip. Or maybe it's a lip. The depth of the lip is making the wheel look like it's way bigger. But them some badass wheels right there. Badass wheels. So, all right, y'all.
Let's show the old school, how you used to take the picture with the lips. Oh, fucking dude. That bitch
what are you
way
doing?
bigger than the motherfucking bill.
What are you doing?
Way bigger than the bill.
Yeah. Let me look at my hand here.
Look at this.
And some real fat lips. So this one, the frame rails in the white car are going to be very, very, very thin, and I'm going to have to flex that front part like I was talking about earlier in the video. Have to flex it straight, and it's going to be very, very thin, so bracing is going to be a little more. This rim has a 2.5 inch bag space. So again, this is a 28 by 12, so it's 13 inches overall. Once again, a lot of people don't pay attention and understand this, and even rim guys. Some guys out there selling rims, and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. How do you sell rims? You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Anyways, from this outside edge to this outside edge, this is a 12, but it measures 13 because of this curve, the bead area of the wheel. So, as you see back here, that backspace, very minimal backspace. So if you take a tape measure on there and level on the rim, and make sure it's plumb, straight up and down, blah, blah, whatever, there's 2.5 inches, that's it, of backspace. So the rotor comes into contact with the frame. So the tan Landau, minimum wage, his rotors, I think, had maybe a 1/2 inch between, the back of the rotor and the frame, but he had the little rotor set, which I think the offset was greater. So that car out there, the white car, I do believe is getting bare brakes, which I don't know when they're gonna show up. And those have a short backspace, a short offset. So here, this one I'm talking about. I know, I got a mess. So, from the front of this to the back of this. So now when this goes on the axle, the back part of the rotor to the frame rail. So right now on this one, we have like, I think 2.5 inches. So I can go that 1.5 inches more. I might be off on that number, but once I get that set up on here, I can show you guys. So minimum wage is real close to it, and that's at 51 inches. So the back space of his rim, I think, was 3 3/4, because it's a 3-piece wheel. So I think the back barrel is like 3 3/4. So 3 3/4, 2.5, do the difference, boom. So the rotor, he's doing the big brakes, so bare, they're a short offset, so that's what's going to be the plus. If we were doing a little brake setup, we would run into that problem, and then you'd have to basically, there's not enough frame here. You'd have to 2x3 the back frame. But if you just go with a little bit bigger brake setup, it's a shorter offset. So we'll see how this one goes, and then I'll be able to explain it a lot better. So the money that it would cost to 2x3 the back frame, you would actually come out cheaper by getting the bigger brakes and having a shorter offset to be able to clear if you're running. So we will see with that car and that rim and that backspace, that offset, see how far we're gonna get it in there. That one may need to be full tubbed because the wheel would have to sit out. It might have to sit out a little bit more, but we're gonna figure it all out. So stay tuned for that. And that's all I got for you now, because I'm rambling. Now I'm trying to get the hell out of here. Bankroll 10, bet it up, and Little Bank. We out.